Hello and welcome back to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. Today we are underneath the Security Analyst Path, and we are taking a look at SOC250 APT35 HyperScrape. Data exfiltration tool detected. EventID is 212, type is data leakage, and we're talking about this occurring December 25th, 2023, 11:22 a.m. So this has been less than a month since this alert fired. So let's see, process name is email downloader.exe. Well, at least it says what it is. If we take the file hash as provided, dump it into, of course, virus total. Ooh, ouch. That's a little bit fragmented and disjoined, but I think it gives most of it. I'm trying to blow up, make it easier to view. So trying to limit how much actually shows up in there. But I think we're getting most of everything through. Hang on. What if I just try to blow this up like the other ones? Well, and we lose the left portion. But 51 out of 69 engines. We're talking the normal big ones that we're looking for: CrowdStrike Falcon, Cyber Reason, Bitdefender, Silence, Not 32, Kaspersky. You know, all the typical ones that you would really hope, well, kind of pray that you're not going to see. But we got more than enough stuff here. Let's see, did we? No, we did not have any public submissions in any.run, but we did have. Okay, yeah, this is terrible. I gotta fix this now because this is just killing the whole thing. Oh well, I tried. I tried. I swear I tried. Oh, you know, best laid plans. Which means I'm gonna have to shrink everything down in order to restore the sizes. Oh well, I guess you don't know if you don't try, and you don't try if you don't know. Or something to that effect. I know, nothing has changed yet on your guys' view. I am working. Okay, we'll do transition, bing, bang, boom. Okay, everything's back. All right, so hybrid analysis. Do the typical thing of taking it to 133% because at least as I'm looking, okay, well, technically, I guess it looks, it's my right, but it looks left when looking at the camera. OBS screen. But we get a bunch of external references that, yes, okay, APT35. And so effectively, I decided, okay, well, let's take a look at the articles that they're mentioning. So it looks like it's basically a tool in use by an Iranian threat actor, or advanced persistent threat, I guess would probably be the more accurate since they did get APT35. To go through and exfiltrate a copy of your mailbox. It looks like it does it a email at a time. So I thought I observed in here. Oh, in the inbox, looking for emails to download. Clicks on the email, opens it, downloads it. If the email was originally unread, marks it as unread, it goes back to the inbox. Emails are saved with .eml extensions under the downloads directory with the file name corresponding to the subject. And then what? Just relays it out to the C2. So exfils. And we get a bunch of... Okay, so we got some C2s that we can look for that they're aware of. A 136 and a 173. I think the other thing just gives you like a really high overview for the hacker news, which is fine. And there was nothing in triage. So we effectively just have hybrid analysis and we have the virus total results. On top of the news articles that had been written, blog posts, whatever. So what did this end up reaching out to? This went out to the 136. 136, 243, 108, 14. Yep, okay. And when was this dated? This was to say dated December 25th. Interestingly, not the same day that this flagged. Maybe somebody beat us to it. Okay, so it looks like this happened on Arthur. So we'll go and we'll take a look. Switch back over to basic. So we want to see as to whether or not if anything ran. So we got an email from so Exchange sent a email with the subject notification of multiple mail download. We have Arthur's machine reaching out to one of the known C2 IP addresses, and of course source process is email downloader. Nothing in the raw log there. Oh, wait, 173.209.51.54. 173.209.151, 154. Over 3389. Oh, Arthur. You turned on RDP, remote desktop, didn't you? And you somehow got someone to allow it to be exposed to the public internet, didn't you? Because how else do you get a fully external IP address connecting straight to yours over 3389? Oh, Arthur, we're gonna have words. Oh, you did a stupid. Seems to be a thing. Brad made me aware of a Reddit post. I forget where it was, but he directed me to it, so I'm sitting there looking at it. Since thankfully you don't need to have an account if somebody can sit there and share the stuff with you, or it's not NSFW. Anyways, talking about how they had gone through and opened up RDP on turned off like advanced security on their router, and then port forwarded 3389 straight to their box, and then I think did the same thing like on their actual like Windows firewall on the host itself and turned off or opened up the port or whatever the case was. And then somehow they'd set up notifications so they get like when somebody logs in and they're away from the house, the thing kicks in and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to ignore it. It's fine. And apparently they came home and somebody had full access to the box, had gone through and like taken all their money out of their bank and like charged a bunch of stuff to get a bunch of stuff from Steam or something. It's just like, well, I mean, what the hell did you expect? You opened up RDP straight to the internet. Well, first off, yes, we want to change it to containment. We want to change it to containment because we already have logs on the perimeter that verify somebody external was able to get in from a known IP address of the APT35, or at least somebody using this tool, and then an email being generated of multiple emails being downloaded, and a connection out to another known C2. So let's see, we got updates going. Wait, the alert was December 25th. We're seeing in the logs December 24th. Right? Or am I just entirely off of my rocker with this? I mean, I make no claims to the contrary. Yeah, December 27th. But if we go back to monitoring and the main channel, just the tool was detected. When did we? So it's like, do we have an email to Arthur? We don't have an email. Well, that's extremely interesting. So maybe Arthur was out of office for the holiday? I mean, it's possible. Was that what was when it was coming in? When did we see the logs for it? 11/17. 11/17. And then it's not until 11/22 that we see the exfil to port 80 on that 136.243.108.14. Oh. Yeah, so they're basically just one next to the other. So that's them getting logged in remotely. Are they doing anything that, like, okay, we're gonna just take Windows Defender and we're just gonna tell it to go sleep now. Unmanaged update. So, I mean, it was kicking off to sit there and at least try to make sure that everything was there. The virus detections were current, at least, as well as Defender's going to do what Defender does. And of course, almost a month difference obviously leads to a big portion. All right, so term serves. We get smart screen. It looks like something's being downloaded. We get this. So maybe they just used the copy and paste function of RDP, take it from their box and move it over to Arthur's. Managed update. And this is them kicking it off at 11:21, and then what we observed the exfil at 11:22, and then we got the message. No, we got the message. It's because they're not lined up properly in terms of date. There we go. So we get the notification for exchange, and then we have the exfil out. So yeah, we've got it on the endpoint logs confirming the data connections that we're seeing in the perimeter logs, the two C2 IPs per the articles. We've got confirmed login from RDP from one of the C2s. We've got execution, which is validated by the endpoint logs and is collaborated with the exchange email or the notification that's sent at 11:21. And then we have the exfil as backed by endpoint and perimeter logs. So this is why we went through and kicked off. So yeah, this would be an immediate punt to L2 or L3, depending as to which portion you're at, as to whether or not if that realistically this would be like, okay, yeah, this needs to go to IR because we are dealing with, what other information might have been contained on Arthur's workstation that might have been exfilled off. Although I'm still left trying to put together why the event time in monitoring is the 25th. And all the logs that we see are the 27th. I'm thinking somebody just, they meant to hit 7, they hit 5. It happens. I mean, I have to imagine most of this information is put in by hand for these particular things. So we're breaking the fourth wall here. I mean, it happens. I mean, if it's done by a human, it will get screwed up. Okay, so we've got all that. We've got all this. Yeah, I don't think there's much else really that we need. I mean, we've done quarantine, but that's the barnyard animals have already bolted out the door. Any exfiltration it's been done. Sorry. So I guess the other aspect would be, did we see comms to and from for anything else? Yep, okay, so that's Arthur. And if we grab the other one, so now what we're attempting to do is determine scope. Is this just limited to Arthur? And it appears, thankfully, that that is the case. at least from the IOCs that we have, and those that have been shared with us that have basically been created centered around this alert. So I guess, thank God for Google Tag. Yeah, which is their what? Threat actor group? Threat analysis group. Tag. Huh. Okay. Oh, apparently, okay, so this does Gmail, Yahoo, and Microsoft Outlook accounts. Apparently, they've also got linked PwC's recently published analysis on a Telegram tool. But is that linked to Iran? APT35 as like what we're dealing with in this? That's the question. That seems to indicate. Yeah, because I think Iran has the like the cat aspect, right? Yeah, Iranian government cyber warfare group. Yeah, so it's Iranian. So apparently using this against themselves or against Iranian citizens, if they were able to pull this together. If I'm reading that right. Or I guess it could be the other way. Activity suggests domestic targeting as all victim phone mobile numbers contain the Iranian country code and Farsi was the main language seen in the victim databases, at least as to what they were able to find. Okay. Well, I guess better domestic than international. But I don't think that has much to do with anything with here, unless we're going to find somewhere in the logs a hit for 138.201.145. This is the first time looking at this report. Do they give us an actual IOC list? We got some SHAs. Sent by documents. Yeah, looks like it. Well, I guess why not? I mean, we're already in this far. Let's go a little bit further. Did anybody reach out to 138.201.145.18? No, not according to this. Okay. I can roll with that. Alright, so let's change log management back to poor Arthur. Alright, so this looks like it's isolated. Isolated just Arthur's workstation. We don't see any evidence that basically this stuff was kicked off via any sort of email. Whereas I don't think I've ever actually seen an email to Arthur show up here. I guess Arthur's just such a diligent worker that he doesn't respond and talk to anybody outside the organization. It's all internal. Although that can't technically be true because you've got internal to internal showing up in here. But nothing during the time. And I suppose we could just do search for Arthur. Anything in here from Arthur? To and from? No. And then the sad logo. Okay. I think we've got enough, so let's grab it and let's roll with this. Oh, I can't. Yeah. Apparently it's time to sit there and talk to my contacts about reading up. Okay. Well, that sucks. But yeah, so we've effectively answered the questions. And because I need to get something put out because the past couple of weeks have just been a massive cluster, and this is the first real opportunity an amount of time that I've had to sit there and put something together. But effectively, we know that yes, we have evidence that it executed. We know that it's malicious. We know that it matches what was previously observed. Yeah, Microsoft even picks it up. Of course, that's now. That's like within 24 hours of me refreshing the scan. How did it actually handle at the time of? I guess that would be more the real big question. But obviously it was allowed to run. We know that it only affects Arthur. We've got evidence of exfiltration, not only in the logs, but also the fact that apparently a notification was sent from the exchange. Right here. And if we were able to connect to the device, then we would probably take a look at where this get dumped. So we'd probably take a look inside of the downloads directory for the Let's Defend user as opposed to Arthur. And we'd one, see as to whether or not that email downloader.exe is still there. We'd take a look, see as to whether or not there's any sign of any other dependencies. And then we would pivot, excuse me, see if we could find any evidence of what emails would have been pulled. Given the fact that we know that they're .eml files, that's what we would be singularly looking for to have been extracted out. So we can try to get an understanding, okay, what was pulled and what was sent out. Even though we may have to go through and do like data recovery, depending. I guess we could use the built-in stuff, like, okay, previous copies of the contents for downloads, maybe. If not, we would probably want to sit there, take a forensic image and see as to whether or not if we can just kind of check through the file system and pull the stuff back. Or maybe we'll get lucky, they didn't even bother to clean up. But given the fact I can't go that far, because the account's currently in a expired state, yeah, that's effectively where we would end up sitting with that one. And I've got to get a couple more of these put out here in short order. So basically just going to call it here. Maybe they'll do a part 2 of actually going through and doing the answers, depending as to, if everything gets situated. But then I will just move on to focusing on actual cases I should be able to do, which maybe will be the ones here. Or maybe I'll just switch off from talking about Let's Defend for a little bit until either I'm making, well, that's for the back end. What else we got to sit there and do in regards to this? But yeah, so this has been an attempt that was stymied for SOC SOC250 APT35 HyperScrape data exfiltration tool detected. There may or may not be a part 2, depending as to whether or not if there's really anything else I should cover in regards to going through and taking a quick look at this. I guess the mindset would be, okay, if we'd seen something like this kick off and we didn't have the reports, we didn't have the detections for virus total. Well, one, the question would be, okay, why did we not have alerting for odd RDP activity into the environment? Okay, maybe Arthur's working from home. He uses personal workstation to RDP into his workstation and take care of stuff. Okay, we should know what kind of range we would expect to see him coming from. We may ask that, hey, especially if it's a work from home aspect, that either, okay, you take your workstation with you and you connect to the VPN, or if you're going to sit there and come in from your personal device, okay, you need to have a static IP, we need to have this locked down, and, we're going to have to put, some sort of monitoring agents on there, anything else like that. Is BYOD even still really even a thing anymore? Seems like we would have learned that's not so much of a great thing. But okay, so an attempt at SOC 250, look for a part 2 once all this stuff gets resolved on the back end, and we'll get it answered, and we'll see how we do in terms of, okay, analysis for everything we've got. But I would say that we have enough in the logs and everything else to basically claim this is a slam dunk, considering the fact that it mirrors the reports that have been shared with us. The only thing would be different would be obviously checking the machines to see as to what emails would have been pulled. So you'd know as to whether or not, okay, they got stuff for, a company that we're working with. Okay, well, we're going to probably want to tell them, be on the lookout for, an increase in emails pretending to be Arthur, or whatever the case is going to be. And of course, you may just not say anything. If we were all good neighbors, we would sit there and make sure that they were informed, but that's not always the case. But, okay, all that being said, I'll see everybody in the next video. Hopefully something that actually we don't get stymied on.